What is going on, everybody? We are back. We're back to doing long form content. And after a year full of lessons in 2025, learned a ton. We want to know, how do we move forward going into 2026, and most importantly, succeeding as flippers in 2026. So this is a video on the top 3 ways to succeed as a flipper in 2026. Make sure you guys stick around for number 3, because in my opinion, it's definitely the most important. This is a new buy for us. We are in Southern Highlands, which is a great area of Vegas. It's right in the southernmost part of Las Vegas. And yeah, super excited to get started on this one. Show you guys what we're doing this year, stay ahead and be successful. Number one mistake that we made last year, and one of the biggest lessons for us, was buying properties that were too small or not enough bedrooms. And here's what I mean. So right now, the biggest thing with everybody is affordability. Everything is super expensive. People are like, I can't afford to buy a house. You know, you kind of hear it all over the place. So if you are trying to sell properties with the least amount of bedrooms and you're trying to get top dollar for them, it's really, really tough, because people are making a lot of sacrifices right now. And those sacrifices are, hey, unless it's like 4 bedrooms, it's a lot of bedrooms, it doesn't make sense, I'm not gonna buy it. I need to fit my whole family in there. And so people want affordability. They want to be able to essentially get more bang for their buck. So this kind of goes into it in this particular property. This is an office here. It's already got the door, it's got the window, but it doesn't have a closet. So one thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put a closet. We're gonna make this into a bedroom. So that way, it's not a 3-bedroom house, it's a 4-bedroom house. And you know, it really doesn't cost us much to go ahead and do that, but it's an absolute game changer when it comes to affordability, selling your flips much faster, being much more successful. Number 2 is you want to avoid competition. So the biggest thing and the biggest issue with flipping is, let's say you put a house on the market and there is 3 other flips in that neighborhood and they're all sitting. So you know, yeah, you have a nice design, whatever, but besides that, there's not much really distinguishing you from those other houses. And so if there's a lot of competition, it essentially becomes a race down of how low can we drop the price to sell this thing in order to, you know, make a profit, get out of it, move on to the next project. Well, that becomes a big, big issue when you're flipping, because as you guys know, you guys have a finite amount of profit that you're working with. And so for us, we're like, hey, we want to buy houses in the nicest areas. You know, the worst house, kind of like this one, it's pretty trashed. We don't want to have a lot of competition. When we put this on the market, there's not going to be a ton of other flips that we're competing with. So somebody who wants to buy a fully renovated property in this area, it's going to be really slim pickings. We're going to be one of the only ones. And so that is essentially giving us leverage and allows us to be able to, you know, get the price that we want and be able to make a profit on it. Whereas if we're buying in a neighborhood where there's 3-4 other flips, now we're kind of at the mercy of what are these other flips selling at, because if they all start dropping price, we've got to start dropping the price as well. And number 3, the third way to be successful flipping homes in 2026 is you can't just go in and just blatantly do everything, rip everything out and try to go for the full flip every time. And here's why. One thing that we realized is a lot of the times people want affordability more than they want like the newer cabinets, for example. So this particular property, that's not gonna work. These cabinets are shot, but we have other properties where we can conserve and reuse some of the stuff like doors, closet doors, cabinets, countertops. We can do all of that and still get, you know, essentially the desired product that we are looking for. The buyer is going to be very, very happy because they're still in really, really great shape. But now, because we spend less money on the renovation, we're able to list that property at a lower value. And so we're essentially passing on the savings to the end buyer. And so that's one thing that we're focusing on this year. It's like, hey, instead of going in and buying the property and thinking, how can we get this to the top value it can get? Instead, we're thinking, how can we deliver a really, really good, clean product and maybe pass on those savings to the buyer to not list at the 370 value, but try to get that buyer a house at 350 when everything else in that neighborhood is selling around 370. And so that is a strategy for this year. I think it's a very, very important strategy. It's figuring out how can you essentially save the end buyer money and create more demand for your product by being the lowest priced in that particular neighborhood. So to recap for you guys, if you want to be successful flipping going into 2026, this is what we're doing in-house. We are squeezing more bedrooms into a property if possible, or buying properties with more bedrooms to begin with. People want more bang for their buck. Number 2, we're buying gray areas. We want to compete with no one. So we don't want to compete with 3 other flips on the same street. What we want to do is we want to be the only flip in that particular area, and it's fully remodeled and ready to go. If they want to remodel property, it's us or really nobody. Number 3, we're figuring out how can we pass on savings to the end buyer. What can we cut? what can we potentially keep and reuse while still delivering a very, very clean and beautiful product. That way buyers feel like they are getting a deal when they're buying your house. So that's what we're gonna focus on. We'll see how 2026 goes. Like I said, 2025 was quite a lot of lessons. We learned a ton, but you learn and you grow. Make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys follow, like, wherever you guys are watching. And we'll start delivering a lot more long form content to you guys, try to pass on some knowledge and show you guys what we're doing. And yeah, make sure you guys follow, and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.